Number 9. Chingiz Bekhanov and Nazirke Bekjanova. For a lot of people, it's important that their family likes the person they choose to date or marry. This was certainly the case in 2018 for 21-year-old Nazirke Bekjanova, a junior doctor who rejected a marriage proposal from a 26-year-old teacher named Chingiz Bekhanov. Bekjanova had recently graduated from medical school in Kazakhstan when Bekhanov popped the question. She said no, because her family didn't approve of him. Bekhanov was outraged. He attacked Bekjanova with a knife while they sat in his car and brutally decapitated her. Then he tried to commit suicide by stabbing himself in the abdomen. He left a suicide note asking that the couple be buried together, but Bekhanov was found clinging to life and was rushed to the hospital in a grave but stable condition. Meanwhile, Bekjanova's body was found in the car. The young woman had just started her first job as a doctor, and she had her whole life ahead of her when it was abruptly snuffed out. People who knew the couple were shocked that Bekhanov would go to such extremes. He really didn't seem capable of doing something like this. At the time the news of the tragedy broke, he faced a murder charge and a sentence of up to 15 years in prison if convicted. Number 8. AMENEH BAHRAMI. AMENEH BAHRAMI's life was forever changed in 2004 when a man named Majid Movahedi attacked her with acid after she repeatedly rejected his numerous requests for a hand in marriage. The Iranian woman screamed in anguish on the street as a crowd gathered around, unsure of how to help her. She lost her eyesight and suffered from disfiguring burns to much of her face and body. Meanwhile, Movahedi bragged to those around him about what he had just done. A court ruled 4 years later that Bahrami could watch as a doctor stood over the man and poured several drops of acid in his eye. This eye for an eye punishment, known as qisas, is an option in traditional Islamic courts when the victim's family fails to reach an agreement with the perpetrator. Although Bahrami was blinded in both eyes, the ruling only allowed for Movahedi to be blinded in one eye. This is because women are seen as being worth only half as much as men under the ruling legal system. The survivor told the media that she was happy with the sentence and that she wasn't resorting to the punishment out of revenge, but to fight against the type of suffering she endured. The day finally came to carry out the punishment in 2011. Officials were counting down the seconds until they would render Movahedi unconscious and pour the acid in his eye. Bahrami had a sudden change of heart and stopped them from proceeding at the last moment. She told The Guardian that Movahedi fell at her feet in gratitude. Up until that point, he had expressed no remorse for what he'd done. She told him to go away and never speak her name again. Bahrami later wondered whether she made the right decision as acid attacks continued throughout Iran. She thinks that if she had gone along with the punishment, maybe it would have set an example to discourage others from committing the same crime. To add insult to injury, Movahedi was released from prison without compensating Bahrami's family, as the court had ordered him to do. Number 7. Jason Eaton and Wendy Sabatini. One day in 2016, 43-year-old Jason Eaton entered the Greensburg Police Department in Indiana and confessed to killing his girlfriend, Wendy Sabatini. He told officers that he had approached her in her bedroom with an engagement ring. She supposedly turned down the proposal before he could even ask, so he grabbed a gun from the nightstand and shot her in the head from behind. Eaton then went to the home of another woman who accompanied him to the police station. He reportedly told her that he'd messed up and that he thought he had killed his girlfriend. Police went to Sabatini's home and were let inside by her son, who thought his mother was at work. They found her body in a room with a gunshot wound to the head. Eaton pled guilty to murder and is currently serving a 45-year sentence. If he lives long enough to see freedom, he'll do 2 years of probation. Number 6. Leona Linda Taylor and William Walter Franco. It's pretty common for a couple to exchange naughty photos these days. Consequently, there's a growing problem of scorned exes publicizing and circulating nude images of their former lover in a bid for revenge. One of the earliest revenge porn cases to make its way to the courts happened in Hawaii. In 2003 and 2004, a woman named Leona Linda Taylor took revealing pictures of herself at the suggestion of a therapist as a way to help her heal from past trauma. They made their way into the hands of a man she was dating named William Walter Franco. Taylor eventually lost interest in Franco. At one point, he proposed to her, and she rejected him. She ended her relationship with him in late 2004 and moved on with her life. A year later, she married someone else. It wasn't until late 2007 that Taylor found out Franco had put her intimate photos online and sent them to one of her co-workers. He also posted the woman's personal information, as well as how to contact her, Taylor searched the internet and found her pictures and information on several other websites. She was understandably humiliated and sought therapy as random people began to contact her looking for sex. Law enforcement failed to help, saying that there wasn't much they could do without more information about the people contacting Taylor. So she hired an attorney and sued Franco in civil court for damages relating to the ordeal, which had upended her life. At the time, Hawaii had no laws banning revenge porn specifically, but Taylor's lawyer presented a compelling enough case for the court to rule in her favor, to the tune of $425,000. And while it sounds like a lot of money, it doesn't fully make up for the level of embarrassment she had endured and was likely to still face in the future. Number 5. Turning the tables. A 28-year-old man believed to be from Great Britain stirred up some controversy on Reddit last year when he took to the forum about a marriage proposal gone wrong. He had asked his girlfriend of 4 years to marry him and did everything he could think of to make it perfect. She had said that she didn't want a public proposal, so he made a nice meal at home and then popped the question. The man's girlfriend said that she wanted to marry him eventually, but she rejected the offer because she wasn't ready. He suggested a long engagement, but she still wasn't comfortable with the idea. So he told her that when she was ready for that level of commitment, it would be on her to get on one knee and propose to him with an engagement ring in hand. The girlfriend disagreed and accused the man of punishing her for not being ready for marriage. He asked fellow Redditors for their opinions. Some commenters agreed that the girlfriend should be the one to propose next, while others said that the couple should probably just break up because the sting of the woman's rejection might be too hard to work past. The man admitted that the rejected proposal and how to handle the matter going forward were putting a strain on the relationship. He wrote that he wasn't trying to punish her, but that he had laid his cards on the table. She knew where he stood, so it was on her to make the next move. What do you think? Let us know in the comments below, but hit that subscribe button first. Number 4. Christopher Tucker and Tara Serino. There was something that Fred Serino didn't like about his 19-year-old daughter Tara's friend, 34-year-old Christopher Tucker. But he couldn't stop her from going to the man's home in Berks County, Pennsylvania, one night in 2017. Tara never came home. Several days later, Christopher's father, John Tucker, showed up at Fred Serino's house with some of the teen's belongings. He told Serino that police had pulled Christopher over in Illinois. They ended up taking him for a mental health evaluation because he wasn't making much sense, and they found some of Tara's things in the vehicle. Tara wasn't with Christopher when he got arrested. Her father filed a missing persons report, and police interviewed Christopher. He reportedly told them that he had asked Tara to marry him, but she said no, that she was sleeping with other men, and that he might as well kill her. He took her suggestion seriously and strangled her to death. Then he gouged her eyes out and struck her repeatedly with a hatchet. After wrapping Tara's body in a rug, Christopher skipped town. Thankfully, it looks like he won't be getting out of prison anytime soon. The jury found him guilty of first-degree murder last year. Number 3. QUTUBUDIN HATIMBHAI SHAHIWALA. When a 26-year-old woman from Yemen turned down his marriage proposal in 2018, a 28-year-old Indian man named QUTUBUDIN HATIMBHAI SHAHIWALA decided to get creative with his revenge. Knowing that she would soon catch a flight back to Yemen from Mumbai, he called the airport and told them that she was carrying a bomb in her bag. The woman was detained upon her arrival at the airport and was found to be free of contraband. She told authorities that Shahiwala had threatened to cause trouble if she left him and helped to confirm the WhatsApp number he had used to make the false report. Shahiwala had met the woman online several months earlier. He told her he was a wealthy businessman, and she traveled from Mumbai with her father to meet him. She soon learned that Shahiwala had lied about his job and that he actually worked as a mechanic. Naturally, she turned down his marriage proposal. After all, nobody enjoys being lied to. Police arrested Shahiwala at his home and took him into custody, reminding him that no matter how burned someone feels after rejection, they still have to respect the person's right to say no. Number 2. NIKHIL HANDA. Indian Army Major NIKHIL HANDA met Shailaja Dwivedi in 2015 when he and her husband were stationed at the same barracks. During that time, Shailaja and Handa became friends. It wasn't long before the married major misinterpreted the friendship as a deeper connection and began stalking Shailaja. He became obsessed with the woman, placing over 3,000 phone calls to her over a 6-month span. The desperate admirer continuously tried to persuade Shailaja to leave her husband and marry him instead. In the meantime, Shailaja's husband, Major Amit Dwivedi, became concerned about the nature of his wife's interactions with Handa. He he banned her from having any interaction with the deluded stalker. But the pair went against Wendy's wishes and met up one day at the military hospital, where Shailaja had a physical therapy appointment. After spending a few hours walking around together, they sat in Handa's car. At some point, he got into an argument with his wife on the phone. Shailaja remained silent as Handa told his spouse that he was planning to divorce her. When he hung up, he made one last-ditch effort to convince his love interest to ditch her husband and be with him. She refused, and Handa slit her throat and ran over her with his car. He allegedly showed no remorse when police arrested him for Shailaja's murder. Sadly, it's a case of, if I can't have you, nobody can. Number 1. Maria SADAQAT. Maria SADAQAT was a young teacher at a school in Islamabad, Pakistan. She caught the eye of the school owner's son, who asked her to marry him in 2016. But Maria wasn't interested, and she turned down the offer. Sadly, she paid for it with her life. Shortly after her rejection, a group of men showed up at the woman's home and brutally beat her. They poured gasoline on her and set her on fire, and then just left her outside to die. Maria suffered burns to 85% of her body and ended up dying from her injuries. The man's father and school owner was among the group that viciously murdered her, according to her father. Her aunt told the BBC that the man who wanted to marry her niece already had a wife and child. He wanted her to run the school that his father owns. It's reportedly common in Pakistan for men to kill women for rejecting a marriage proposal. In the aftermath of Maria's death, a village elder allegedly told her father that his honor was at stake. Others urged him to stay quiet about the matter and handle it outside court. Activists are fighting to draw more attention to these so-called honor killings, which go largely unreported. These brutal slayings are often worked out under Islamic laws that were introduced in the 1980s, which allow the victim's family to pardon the murderer in exchange for money or other considerations. The fight for women's rights in Pakistan continues, as religious groups argue that campaigning for equality promotes obscenity. Thanks for watching. If you'd like to see more videos about failed marriage proposals, let us know in the comments below. Don't forget to subscribe, and we'll see you next time. Bye!